So I can think of a couple arguments against this. So one of them is just in terms of programming. So if you've ever tried to do serial programming and you get really good at it, you feel confident when you hear, oh, there's lots of other computers I can use. And you say, great, I'll just do the same thing in parallel. And then you realize that parallel programming is significantly more complicated than serial programming. And that's for like a well understood problem where all the hardware is sort of, well designed. So that gives me pause. The other thing that I kind of don't like about this idea is that if there's certain things when you're designing a chip where you can say, okay, if I increase the bus size from, 8 to 16 to 32, that sort of idea scales up. But if you get 8 people in a room or 16 people in a room or 32 people in a room, clearly you can't just like glue all their brains together. And I kind of think that the way our human mind ingests information and stores it with these networks, I can't just glue on someone else's brain to mine and hope for it to scale better. So I can see just off the cuff a lot of problems with this sort of idea of sort of parallel explosion. It does not seem like an idea that will scale from my mind, at least.
Well, first, I'd like to just agree with Isaac. I think it's really unclear that it would be possible to merge parallel minds without messing them up. And if I was like a really super intelligent machine, the last thing I'd want to have is someone like to stick something into my brain that they had worked out. I'd be very suspicious of that sort of thing. But on the question of the intelligence explosion, I have a sort of a distinct view that maybe can add to the different points of view on the intelligence explosion. My view is that it not only, it's not the question that it will happen, it is happening now. And we're familiar with it. We're familiar with the exponential increase in computer power and the abilities of people and their machines. And just because something is exponential and just because something is in that sense an explosion doesn't mean it has to be fast. So the exponential explosion we're in now is often called Moore's law. And it doubles every year and a half. And that's absolutely exponential. It's just going like this. And it's going steeper and steeper and steeper. And that's why we're getting smarter and smarter people and smarter machines as the years go by. So, but it seems slow. Like, I'm here and I'm saying I have to wait a year and a half to get my computer to have a bigger file system. It seems slow. It's depressingly slow. So I think we're in the midst of an explosion. This explosion is going to continue just like this. And it's always going to be feeling slow. It's not like it's going to overwhelm us any more than it's right now. It's overwhelming us. Or, we're kind of overwhelmed, right? Computers are going and doing things we can't keep track of, but we're not totally overwhelmed. I think it's going to be like this forever. We are in the midst of the explosion.
I was trying to make a distinction between, the capacity and the speed of, say, an artificial intelligence system versus this idea of the singularity, sometimes called, of knowledge, right? The argument that's often been made is not that machines will get faster and more capable, it's that they will know more than we do, that we will not be able to understand what they know. It's the threat, as it's proposed, is not a threat of faster, bigger brains, it's a threat of knowledge that we can't understand. And there's a big difference between those two. So I agree totally with Rich, what Rich has said. We're living through an exponential increase. It is not a singularity. By the way, exponential increases can't go on forever. They never do. But they can go on for a long time. I think that's Rich's point. And so we're, right now, whether it's because we have faster computers or because there's so many more scientists or we have so much better communications, we have so many more people being able to interact. We are, our knowledge is growing exponentially faster every year. And it's not a threat to us. It is not a singularity. It's not like bingo, instantly, you reach this inflection point and then things take off beyond. And so the point I'm trying to get at here is that the threat that people talk about is not that we're going to have faster, smarter machines, and it's going to be that they're going to know more than us in an instant, and we won't be able to control this whole thing. And I just disagree with that. It just can't possibly happen. And so I think that's a point. I also agree with what Isaac said. You can make things faster by parallelism. Like we can put 1,000 scientists on figuring out how the brain works versus, and then we can put 10,000 where you're not going to get 10 times as much done. You're going to maybe get twice as much done, that kind of thing. So I don't know, I guess all the comments were pretty good. And I think we should be careful what we're worrying about. We're not worrying about machines being really smart. We're worrying them knowing stuff that we can't understand that they know. And that is what I argued that is not going to happen.